And welcome back to part 11 of the What If Minato Had Survived What If. Last time, the invasion of the sound and sand had arrived. Now, someone correctly pointed out in the comments that the sand, Orochimaru with the sand is pretty ballsy to attack the leaf in this version, because not only is Minato alive, but all the Uchiha clan is still around. Plus everyone else who is still around, and you got stronger variants of characters here, like Akashi's stronger here because he's been able to train with his sensei longer. So, needless to say, it's probably not going to go the best for them. But we left off with Shikamaru, Gaara with Shikaku in his Shikaku form, or his smaller form, clashing with One-Tails Naruto. And Rasa, the fourth Raikage, clashing with Minato. So let's focus on the first part of that. Let's focus on Naruto and Gaara. They clash. There's a big explosion. Eventually, Sakura, I think, is actually able to get Sasuke out of the sand. What would you have called that, by the way? Because it was basically he grabbed her and then basically his hand fell off and started squeezing her. Sand confinement? Sand binding? I don't know. Gets him out of the sand. He's like, and Sakura's like, "Are you okay, Sasuke?" "Yeah, I'm fine." But how's Naruto? And they see Naruto. So I'm thinking, if I saw this in the anime, I would be willing to compare it to something close to like a DBZ clash. Like they're like boom, 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 like jutsus are flying, wind, because they both actually use wind jutsu, Naruto and Gaara, clashing, and wind shuriken jutsu, and he fires them at both Sasuke and Sakura, and Naruto's like, gets in there, blocks with his tail, boom, boom, actually has to take it, oof. But he clashes back, tornado fast, boom, and then Gaara goes flying into a tree, just boom. He's generally fine because of his defensive capabilities, though it still didn't tickle. And he's getting back up, and he's like, "You guys okay?" He's like, "Naruto." And you can see they're okay. And he just looks at him, and then he turns his head and faces the enemy again, just like, "I know you have questions, and I swear to you, I will answer them when it's all done. But right now, this guy is trouble, and I need to take him down. Yeah, so get as far away from the battlefield as you can. I'm not trying to belittle you guys, but if you're here, he can try to hurt you, and I can't focus 100% on the fight if I have to protect you guys too. So please get somewhere safe." And it's like, "They're not going anywhere, Naruto Uzumaki! Listen!" I don't know, Sand Crusher, he fires the Sand Crusher, Rasen, Tornado Fist, Rasengan! And then, he fires the Rasengan with Tornado Fist. The Tornado Fist takes on a red hue because of the chakra, and they clash again. Just, boom, the sand's getting mixed up. Gaara's forced, and they're clashing back and forth. Beam struggle Naruto style. It's like, "Get going now!" And so Sakura and Sasuke, they get out of there. I mean, they got there far enough they can still see the fight. Kind of like Tamari. She was at a safe distance. They get there. I will not let you. And all of a sudden, he just sees a couple kunai coming at him. It's like, "Please, is that the best you can?" And the kunai transforms into Naruto, two Rasengan straight in hand, and this time used the Gale Palm technique again. We know you can launch Rasengan, and we see Boruto do this with a lightning style, I think it's Vanishing Rasengan. And that Naruto did it with Sage Jutsu, not Sage Jutsu, Sage Chakra. But I've always thought the idea that as long as there's chakra to keep available to keep the Rasengan stable, that you could theoretically launch the technique. That's why I always like the idea that the Tornado Fist, when using Rasengan, actually throws the Rasengan out. I can imagine a Gale Palm wouldn't be quite as effective at doing that, but at the same time would still be able to throw a Rasengan, just launch it, and plus he's point blank, so Naruto can, even if it dissipates after a couple of feet, Naruto's already hitting Gaara dead on. And every time he does this, he's imparting a little bit of wind chakra into the jutsu, not unnecessarily, but not unwelcome. It's like, "You're mine!" He's strong, but I will not lose. Not to him. It's over! There's no way I'm gonna lose to a guy like him! And then obviously he turns into a Chicago person. Holy crap. Blast the Tanuki. What is that? Is it?
That, while the fox is not out, or while the Shukaku has not been released, that is its form. You really have been something special, Naruto Uzumaki, so I will grant you a quick death.
Crap! Naruto's like, basically, Naruto, the Five Cloak shrinks down to just, the standard kind of aura he gets. Summoning Jutsu! And obviously,
Naruto, what am I doing here?
Sorry, Chief Toad, I didn't want to have to call you, but I know you don't want to be called unless it's necessary.
What could be such a big deal that you... Shikaku the Sand Spirit. No wonder you called me.
Look, I know we can't actually beat this guy, but we gotta do something to put him down.
You really are amusing, Naruto Uzumaki. So I'll show you the true manifestation of the stand. Those who are possessed by the Shikaku the Sandman can no longer sleep. The horror haunts them too much. If he does sleep, the Shikaku will eat away at your psyche until there's nothing left.
And then obviously he falls asleep.
I'm finally free! Let's do this! I see.
It's like,
we'll have to wake him up, Naruto.
So I'm ready when you are. Let's go! Now, obviously, you're noticing Buddha's a lot more cooperative here. Well, it's because he already knew of Naruto even before being a summoner. He's probably met him at least a couple times thanks to Minato and Jiraiya. But I at the same time, it's one of those things where, yeah, he's clearly respected Naruto for a little bit. Plus, Naruto passed his test. He respects him as a summoner, so he's going to fight along with him. And obviously, they go into a lot of their fighting. Naruto's also throwing out attacks as well. He's not just sitting idly by. And just, basically there's tornado fish, basically like a boxer was like that. Unfortunately, even with the immense chakra that Kurama can afford him right now, even doing like a one-tail form and a, no-tail form, it's not going to really do a whole lot, and it's going to drain Naruto's chakra out pretty quick. So, eventually it gets to the point where they have to transform. He clocks Gaara, and I just need a little bit more chakra, and ultimately he knocks Gaara out. Basically, he knocks Gaara out. Sorry, the Jeff Bezos episode of South Park is on in the background. It's kind of very my case. They just killed the guy who got trapped in was stuck in the Amazon box. Anywho, so and obviously they clash one more time. It's like, we don't have to fight. And Naruto gives it's a different speech here. Admittedly, it's like, we don't have to fight. We don't have to fight like this. We're not that different. We don't have to be enemies. You can be more than what they made you. And, they clash one more time. He knocks Gaara out. Naruto, I think, is actually able to stay on his feet in this time around because he's actually been able to use this Fox's chakra more effectively here. Granted, he's tired, but he's still able to, kind of walk it off and just walk up to Gaara. And he kind of just leans down on when he's talking about this. Like, why would you do anything for someone other than yourself? Because they've saved me from myself. If I didn't have them, I probably would not be the person I am today. And just because you didn't get that doesn't mean you can't have that. We don't have to be enemies. We can be allies. We can be friends. And eventually Temari and Kankuro show up. Naruto stands up. He's tired, but he's ready to fight if he has to. However, Sasuke and Sakura show up as well. And Temari, Kankuro, we're done. Take me, let's go home. And then he apologized to him and all that. And so, Sasuke and Sakura, are you okay, Naruto? I need to kind of just tired. Oh, God. And there's kind of an awkward silence between him and Naruto. Just, I know. Let's at least wait till let's at least wait until the invasion's over before we talk. Is that fair enough? Besides, I'm a little tired at the moment. Fair enough. And so they get him out of there. Meanwhile, back at the other subplot, Minato is having trouble with Rasa. You would think Minato, being as powerful as he is, particularly as hacks as he probably is, he should be able to get through Rasa no problem. But Rasa, I imagine, he's very much like Gaara. He most likely is able to summon. We know he can summon gold. That's because he was able to do that, and he probably controls it very much like Gaara. So even with extreme speed, if you got a perpetual barrier around you, someone like Minato is going to have trouble getting through that. And on the fact that he's able to attack both with gold and apparently with a that was the thing I never knew about the character, is that he was actually a very effective water user. And so he's like firing off water attacks. Minato's speed is able to keep at bay. And Minato's like, this isn't getting anywhere. I've got to get through that attack. You really think you'll be getting through Minato? This isn't you. You're under a genjutsu. I can see it in your eyes. See it in your eyes. You are under a Sharingan genjutsu. Is that right? Maybe then one of your clansmen, one of the Uchihas to blame. Orochimaru's like, I think we both know that's a lot of crap. It's like, and why is that? Because you wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. You would just if that were really the case, you would have just let me spin with that idea. But the fact is, you brought it up just to bring it up, which means that's not the case. So, to which Rasa grins and say, you are too clever for your own good, Lord Hokage. That's why you have to die. Meanwhile, Jiraiya and Minato and Sarutobi both have officially finally shown up at the barrier. And Jiraiya's like, I might have something, but it's not going to do any good unless Minato can get in for the inside. This is a powerful barrier seal. You ready? That's why I'm here as well, Jiraiya. Let's get to it. And both Soundboard's like, what are they planning to do? Meanwhile, Minato's still trying to struggle to get through. He doesn't want to kill the Raikage because he knows the Raikage is not really in his right mind. He's not in his own control. But it's unfortunately, I think it's time for us to end this. Don't you think so, Lord Hokage? Or Lord Fourth? And just Minato is like, fine, let's what's going? And Minato's like, something wrong. Can't catch your breath, Lord Fourth. And which Minato actually realizes what's going on. He's like, no, breakthrough! And he basically just, and he's starting to cough up. He was starting to cough up blood. Now, there's precedent for what I just did here. Because there's so much gold particle in the air, Minato's breathing. It has to breathe, even though he's trained. Enough physical activity will get you to breathe heavier. He was inhaling gold dust, which Rasa was planning on. Rasa was starting to hit his lungs and his internal organs. Fortunately, it was mostly his lungs, so with a powerful enough wind jutsu, he got the majority, if not all, of the gold dust out of his lungs. Which, because he was able to clear the air a little bit, he can take a couple of deep breaths. It's like, so you figured out what I was doing, Lord Hokage. But unfortunately, how are you going to proceed now? And he just comes in with the gold, makes gold spikes. And finally, Minato's like, forgive me, Rasa, for this. And then finally, he just would say, is that really the best you can? And all of a sudden, it just bounces off. It bounces off the gold shield he makes, but it doesn't really matter because Minato shows up there. It's like lightning style. It's like, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's no real technique for this, but recall how I had him use a weaker version of the Raikage's technique. Well, now he uses a slightly more effective version of it, and just because it's magnet release. So magnets and electricity are directly connected. You could easily defuse a magnet release theoretically with a powerful enough charge, which Minato does. And finally, he just displaces the gold dust and is able to finally get through to Rasa, who's like, ugh! Comes in with the water blade, only for Minato to just and just put him down to the ground. Finally, he just throws the four kunai at the barrier, at the corners of the barrier, which is what Jiraiya and Sarutobi with some clones are aiming for, and they displace the barrier. And with that, Rasa is now snapped down. He's like, Minato, what am I doing here? My arm. It's like, don't worry. I'm sorry about that, old friend, but I had no choice. But don't worry. If we can, we should be able to reattach it, given enough time to get. And he quickly calls like an Anbu medic. patch his arm up right now. He's like, but Lord Okage, everything's okay. Yeah, he's under. That's my order. Do it now. I'll take responsibility for anything he does. And they get Rasa out of there. It's like, crap, we need to get out of there right now. And Orochimaru, who's been probably looking through his things, like, the invasion is over. It's like the Sound 4 try to retreat. It's like looks like the little sound Nano trying to get away. And Minato just has a handful of kunai. Actually, I imagine he could just do 2 of these and just still do it, and just throw them. And they move. They're able to catch up immediately to him. But Minato times it. Shadow Clone Shuriken Jutsu. And all of a sudden, the Sound 4, the last thing they see is a combination of a couple dozen kunai suddenly showing up and a yellow flash before it all goes to black. Well, all except for one of them. I think they would keep one of them alive. I imagine, given the chivalrous nature of some people, he would go with the female of the group, Taiuya. It's like, that's sexist. No, maybe, but let's be honest. 9 times out of 10, it's one of those things where we just don't. It sucks from a society standpoint. It does, how we view men versus women. But honestly, yeah, if you're looking at a group of men and one woman, subconsciously, you're probably not going to aim for the girl first. And you may even keep her alive. And it might be to just the outdated notions or whatever, but that's the case. So, yeah, Taiuya gets left alive, but instead of slashing your throat like he does with all the other ones. And I think with Sakan and Ukon, he actually just cleaves their heads quite right into it. Both their heads go clean. I was like, oh! And Taiuya just gets knocked out. And so Kabuto's got to hightail it the hell out of there real quick. He's able to get out. Now, granted, he is confronted by Kakashi in the original, but I think he's able to get out. And so everything ultimately comes down easy. It comes down easy. That sentence made no sense. It comes down to the sound in the sand. Get out of there. There's very low casualties in Konoha, although there still are casualties. Sand took a big hit, but the sand actually is allowed ultimately to, or at least some of the sand is safe. Like the sand trio stays, and a couple of the Jonis the rest go back to the village. This is due to the fact that Rasa is still in the infirmary. He's got chakra seals on him, and he understands why. Minato goes in and confronts him, along with a couple like Jiraiya and Saratobi are there, and the Sound 3 are also there. They stay at Sound 3. The Sand 3 are there. They stay in like the room near him because that's their father after all. So Minato goes and confronts Rasa. What? Are you okay now? I don't know what to say. And he's armed. They're able to get his arm to reattach. They don't have Tsunade right now. They still have some good medics. So I think because of how quickly they took care of it, they were able to reattach his arm. Although it's going to be a while before he can fully use it. And Rasa's just like, I'm so ashamed of myself. I'm supposed to be the Hokage, the leader of my village. I fell prey to a genjutsu of such caliber. It's like, forgive me, Minato. It was never my intention to raise a war. But there have been some ill feelings in the villages of late, but there was never my intention to. It was never my intention to put war against an ally, or to start war with anyone, let alone an ally. And Minato, Minato understands. It's like, but who was it? All I remember is the eyes. Not all he remembers. He probably does remember. Orochimaru probably tried to, wipe his memory with a genjutsu, but unfortunately, he's a Raikage, he's a Kage, so it's not like he's going to forget that easy. So ultimately, he's like, it was Orochimaru, and Minato kind of suspected, but he's now very worried. And Jiraiya hears and says, Orochimaru, does that mean it looks like he got his hands on the Sharingan after all? We look, and no ninjas are infallible. We've lost Uchiha over the years, but we always assumed it was just due to battle. But it seems one of them went missing after all. Sorry, I'm stuttering here.
if Orochimaru has the Sharingan, it could spell very bad, dangerous news for the village.
And so they are, they have to worry about Orochimaru now, definitely. But for the meantime, it's like, well, what do we do with the Kazekage? And Rasa's like, I'll accept whatever punishment that you deem fit, Lord Okage. This is my fault this as much as it Orochimaru's fault. And, Minato's like, And Minato being, younger and, having dealt with other things is a bit, I think, a bit more forgiving than someone like Saratobi would have been, or even Jiraiya. So he just thinks on, he's like, they're free to go. It's like, but Lord, and a couple of people's like, Lord Okage, are you sure? Is that why? This was not under, he was not under his own free will. If this were under his own free will, we'd not be so forgiving. But wait till he recovers, and they will be free to go. And so, yeah, their piece is shaky, but still there because Minato is smart enough to understand it wasn't his fault. So at 21-minute mark, we do need to address the Tsunade arc. Is there a reason Tsunade needs to be found right now? The answer is no. There's actually no reason for that whatsoever. The Sound Four are also dead, except for Tayuya, who's currently going to be interrogated on Orochimaru's whereabouts. And let's be honest, she's probably not going to crack. At least not in a way that's really going to do much. They might use a Yamanaka, and they might get the information off of her about where Orochimaru's current location is. But that's about it. But that's all they really need. And with getting that information, the question becomes, what are they going to do? Orochimaru won't stay there for long, obviously. And it's unclear whether or not he's aware that Tayuya is alive or not. To which Minato and Jiraiya combined, looking at the seal on her neck, goes, he's aware she's alive. From what I can tell, it's been a long time, or Jiraiya's like, it's been a long time, but I can tell Orochimaru's chakra signature when I sense it. And my guess is he imparts a little bit of himself into these seals. So not only can he influence them, but can he keep track of them? Which means he's very much aware she's alive. And so if he's still at that location, he will not be there for long. So we're going to have to do a counter strike effort, or we're going to have to move fast. Minato's like, you're right, Sensei, you're going to be with me. Everyone else will stay here. And are you sure about this? Orochimaru was my responsibility, Minato, and I failed. And to which, I was like, maybe, but now I'm the Hokage, which means responsibility dealing when it comes to me. Add on that Jiraiya was his teammate, and his, and has been trying for years to find him. Makes sense. I know he was your student sensei, but I don't know if you really want to come out of retirement for this. Like, which Saratobi just takes off his, takes everything off. Well, everything off. He takes off the clothes he's wearing to reveal his battle uniform, and then brings out his hat. Like, without trying to disobey you, Lord Hokage. Don't try to stop me. And so you get Saratobi, Jiraiya, and Minato, a heavy hitting team, going out to basically confront Orochimaru while they still got the chance. And he basically says, Kakashi, I'm leaving you as temporarily in charge right now. And he's like, very well, Sensei. And so Kakashi is the Tempo Kage. Naruto, and finally, just to sum it up, Naruto is having a conversation with his friends about the fox and everything that happened the day of his birth and what his dad did. And he's worried they're going to look at him wrong, but they just look at him like, look, it's fine, man. I always wonder why, despite being Hokage's kid, some people gave you a bit of shit. Now I do. It doesn't change anything about you, man. You're not the fox. You're you. I always saw you use the fox's chakra, but that was ultimately just to save us. I'd never seen anything more than my friend, Naruto Namikaze. And Sakura just gives him a hug. He's like, hey, that's right, you're a friend, no matter what. And he's just like, thanks, Sakura. And, he gives Sasuke a hand, like that friend handshake, that kind of thing. There's like, yeah. And Naruto briefly sees his dad getting ready to head out of the village with Sarutobi. And Jiraiya's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Dad's got to do something, son." And Naruto's like, "Hokage business? Hokage business." It's like, "Take care, Dad, and kick whoever's ass you got to kick it good." And so Minato, Jiraiya, and Sarutobi are going to confront Orochimaru. Will they kill the snake? Ooh, that's a good question. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.